Hey YouTube, Matty's812, Team JMT, coming to you guys with my mid-format ban list discussion. These are my thoughts on some of the cards that I think that need to change their status on the ban list or restricted list coming the next, March 2013 ban list. Now, this is a topic that I've actually already written an article about. I wrote an article at buybigbang.com. I'll have a link down below if you guys want to go check it out and read the full article. Mainly because there are some more cards that I talk about in that article that I'm not going to talk about during this video, just to kind of keep the video a little bit shorter. So let's go ahead and start this video. First card on the list is Pot of Avarice. Now these are cards that I think need to be banned. I feel like Pot of Avarice needs to be banned. It probably actually should have been banned at the end of the plant format when Glow Up Bulb and Spore got banned and Formula Synchro went to 1. I kind of feel like this card should have been hit at that moment, and it wasn't. I really feel like Konami felt like the changes that they made to the plant engine fixed that problem and allowed them to leave this card alone. And the very next format is the Windup Loop, and where they were eating up your hand, and if they were able to get Pot of Avarice in that hand, they were able to get just that many more cards out of your hand. And completely honest with you though, in that format, that was the only deck that was really abusing Pot of Avarice. Nobody else was really capitalizing off of Pot of Avarice. So they were able to make their changes to the Windup Loop and not touch Pot of Avarice. However, now this format that we're in right now, Pot of Avarice seems to be popping up in like everything. Pot of Avarice has almost become staple in so many decks right now. I feel like it's getting abused right now. I feel like it's getting almost overplayed. I do feel like it is a +1. I know you have to wait for the 5 monsters to end up in the graveyard first, but it's a +1. I feel like it opens up a lot of plays, allows you to recycle tour guides, recycle Deepsea Divas, I mean maybe even Reborn Tengu if you're still playing Tengu. It allows you to reuse a lot of the cards that Konami has already put it restricted to 2 for a reason. You know, so yeah, I feel like Pot of Avarice needs to be banned. Next, I want to talk about Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn, I feel, is just a completely overpowered card. I feel like this card needs to be banned. It's so aggravating to me to put in as much work as I do to try to control the pace of the game, to try to whittle away at your resources, and to take control and to keep control, just to have my opponent top deck a Monster Reborn, and not only just pull out a boss monster from their graveyard, but they can pull out my boss monster if they want, and just completely beat me because they've drawn into the one Monster Reborn that they needed at that time. So those are the cards that I feel like need to be banned. So now let's talk about the cards that I think need to go to 1 on the next ban, on the next restricted list. These are the limited cards. First, please excuse the proxy. But anytime that I get one of these, it's going to get sold. So yeah, I don't hold on to the to Abyss Megalos very long. But Mermail Abyss Megalo is a card that I feel like needs to go to 1, and the reason I think this is going to go to 1 as opposed to some of the other cards in the Mermail deck is because the only other cards that I really feel like they would hit would either be Mermail Abyss Leaned or Abyss Sphere. And I don't think they really want to hit either one of those cards. I know both of those cards lead into Megalo, but I don't feel like they want to hit either one of those cards, because if you were to hit Abyss Leaned or Abyss Sphere, I feel like you really shut down the whole Mermail archetype, and I don't feel like they're wanting to do that. I mean, obviously they're not wanting to do that because there's still Mermail stuff coming out in the next set. So taking Abyss Megalo to 1 will slow down the water deck, and it actually doesn't hurt them as bad as what you may think, because in the next set they're actually getting another Mermail Abyss Megalo, a different name of course. However, he's just slightly larger in attack. His effect I don't believe is nearly as good. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I know you can still discard 2 waters to special summon him from your hand. So they're getting another Abyss Megalo. So taking this Abyss Megalo to 1 will not hurt the water deck near as much as you think it might. Next, going to 1, number 16, Shockmaster. Now, Shockmaster is showing up in everybody's extra decks at 1 right now anyway. The only reason I feel like that you really do need to take this to 1 officially is because, 1, the Magician Shark combo puts this on board and makes it really, really hard to get past. And if it takes that many resources just to get past 1, I would hate to have to try to face 2. And I know like the only deck out there right now that could really put 2 or more of these on board would probably be Machina Gadget deck. They'd probably have to run 9 gadgets and Ultimate Offering. So to get that play off is not going to happen near as much as what I probably think it would. But still, I would hate to have to try to face 2 Shockmasters knowing what I've got to use just to get past 1. Next, I don't believe taking Rabbit and Tour Guide to 2 has hurt the Rescue Rabbit, Dino Rabbit build as much as what Konami was really wanting them to. So, Evozar Logia is a card that I feel like needs to go to 1. I mean, let's face it, guys. It's Solemn Judgment on legs, and Solemn Judgment is restricted to 1 for a reason. And, I mean, that's what this guy is. So, I really feel like they need to take this to 1. I feel like that will help slow down the Dino Rabbit deck more than what they weren't able to do by taking Rabbit and Tour Guide to 2. Next, I want to talk about cards that I feel like should be semi-limited. Deepsea Diva. It's been referred to as the Tour Guide of the water deck, and I mean that's what it is, guys. It has the same ability as Tour Guide. It's very similar to Reborn Tengu and to Destiny Hero Malicious. It's very similar to those cards, but it is most similar to Tour Guide. But not only does this give you instant access into a rank 2, just like Tour Guide gives you instant access into a rank 3, but this is also a tuner. So it also gives you instant access into synchroing for a level 4 or synchroing into a level 5. So it's actually just slightly better than Tour Guide when you really think about it. Just because of it being a tuner also. I know most of the Mermeal Atlantean decks are only running 2 anyway. But with, like I said, with Tour Guide being at 2, Reborn Tengu, Destiny Hero Malicious, all of those cards being very similar to Deepsea Diva, already at 2, I feel like that's where this is going to be going. Next, I want to talk about Windup Magician. I feel like this card needs to go to 2. I feel like the Magician Shark combo is just way too... what you can put on board, it's just way too good for you to be able to run 3 of this card. The Magician Shark combo happens way too often, and I feel like taking this to 2 is going to limit... obviously, it's going to limit the ability for them to draw into it, and so they're not going to get the Magician Shark combo first turn as often. Also going to 2, I feel like Windup Factory needs to go to 2. You just have the ability, especially with Windup Rabbit, you have the ability to plus off of this card every turn. And I compare this card to Black Whirlwind. I mean, because that's basically what it does, being able to gain the effect once per turn. But I really feel like this should be at 2. I don't think it needs to go to 1. Just because I feel like you still want to be able to search through the deck. But yeah, I feel like 2 is really the good spot for that. Next, coming off some of the restrictions that's been put on them, Pot of Duality. Now, when Pot of Duality went to 2, like every deck was running 3 of them. Since then, the format and the game has really changed, and I don't feel like Pot of Duality really deserves to be at 2 anymore. I really feel like this card could go back to 3, and the decks are so fast now with Mermeals and Windups and all that. I really feel like this could help out some of the slower decks like the Girgias and Evosars and those kind of decks. I really feel like you could help out those decks and the different stun decks by taking this back up to 3 and help those slower decks compete a lot more. Next, a card that I feel like needs to come back to 2. I've already said it with Windup Factory. Black Whirlwind. I feel like this card needs to come back to 2. With them giving some extra support to Wing Beast with the Harpies. The Harpy Mirage Dragon. Harpy Pet Mirage Dragon, I think is what its name of it is. I really feel like this little extra push with Whirlwind going back to 2 could really help out that deck and really make it competitive again. Next, Premature Burial is a card that I feel like could come back off the list and replace Monster Reborn for us. I know that we have Hidden Armory that can go searching for it because it's an equip spell, but in a format where we have so much back row hate with 3 MSTs, you can only grab a monster from your own graveyard, and it comes at the cost of 800. I know 800 is really not a huge cost, but I feel like this card is a lot more balanced than Monster Reborn, even though we do have Hidden Armory, which would allow you to go searching for it. And maybe that's part of, maybe you take Hidden Armory to 1 also if you were to bring this card back. But yeah, I really feel like Premature Burial is a much more balanced card than Monster Reborn and needs to come back and replace Monster Reborn on the list. Now, I want to talk about a couple notable non-mentioned cards in this list. First, we've got the Windup deck here. I want to talk about Windup Shark. A lot of people have told me that they want to see Windup Shark go to 2. I don't want to see that. I want to see Windup Shark stay at 3. 1, because in complete honest, guys, I really feel like Magician's going to go to 1. I'd like to see it stay at 2, but I really feel like Magician is probably going to go to 1. I think giving us 3 sharks, allowing us to still use 3 sharks, really adds to the creativity of the Windup deck and still makes the deck playable no matter what you do to it to hurt the deck. I really feel like giving us the 3 sharks is what really adds, like I said, creativity. It really allows the player, the Windup player, to be creative in what they're doing and be able to make several different options in their extra deck. Next, Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning. Everybody has been screaming, hollering that they want this card banned, that it should have never came back, and all kinds of different excuses and reasons why they feel that way. And honestly, guys, I don't want to see this card go, just out of pure selfishness. I really, really enjoy playing my Chaos Stun, and I'm already down to 1 Sorcerer, and with the support that spellcasters have gotten, they can go searching for Chaos Sorcerer and add it to their hand. I don't see Chaos Sorcerer coming back to 2 or 3 at any time, especially anytime soon. And I really personally want a boss monster in my Chaos Stun deck to go along with my Chaos Sorcerer. So Blackluster Soldier is my other boss monster. I really want them to leave this card in the game just out of, I'm being completely honest with you guys, just out of selfish reasons. I want this card to stay in the game because I want my boss monster. So there you go, guys. There's my mid-format ban list predictions or thoughts. Feel free to comment down below and tell me your thoughts on where you think some of these cards should be on the list. Tell me what you think about Blackluster Soldier. Does it need to be banned? Can we play around it? A lot of decks outside of Agents are really not, and Chaos Dragons are really not capitalizing on this card right now. Could this fly under the radar, kind of like Pot of Avarice has, and stick around? Do you think Magician at 1, Shark at 2, Factory at 1? Do you really think, how do you think the Windup deck needs to be hit? And Premature Burial. Do you think Premature Burial could come back? I really want to know, guys. And if you want to, head over and check out the blog and check out the other cards that I talked about. Like I said, this is just a few of the cards that I talked about. There's many other cards that I talked about in that article, so head over to buybigbang.com and read my blog over there. I appreciate it, guys. Subscribe. Comment down below. Show us how much you love us.